Long and Winding Road by Arthur Telling. You create your own reality by imagination and dreams. It happens at night. Your thoughts are not so private. Together, separately, we build the world you wake up to. Together, separately, we build a future. Without agreement of others, your desires in this world will not happen. Here is a lesson: patience. Through patience and a good heart, your dreams will materialize. And through perseverance. But it is you who determines your future. Through your thoughts and beliefs and your good intentions, you literally write the story of the world. I didn't believe him, yet in some odd way his words rang true, for the old man's words had stuck in my head, and I carried them with me through the day. Then that night I had a dream that was really vivid. I was at the foot of a mountain, and I was looking for this old man who had so piqued my interest about this imagination thing, that we plan our futures while dreaming and imagining. A young woman appeared and asked what I was looking for. I said I'm looking for the old man with white hair and beard, the man in the orange robe with the ancient face and warm grin and deep cold stare. I wanted to see him again. She pointed up the mountain behind us. He is there, she said. I looked behind me. A dirt trail led back and up. I set my foot down on the trail and woke up in my bed. The dream. I hardly remember much of it now, except that part. The woman, the mountain, and the dirt trail. That was months ago. My God, it was last February, and we're approaching Christmas. Almost a year, and that old man's words still ring in my head. I knew at the time he was wrong, but on reflection, no, he was dead on. It was the way he had said it. It had creeped me out. God, no, that's not possibly true, I had thought, but really the idea is good sense. I was raised a Catholic. It just about killed Mom when I dropped out of the church. Her little boy had figured it out. This Christian thing is a belief, and beliefs are not going to save you. If there is a thing called salvation, it will build out of knowledge of the nature of things, right actions, right purpose, all that. I'm no atheist, mind you. I've studied the religions, Buddhist, Hindu, the Tao. I've looked at all that, and Gnosticism, that too. The words of Jesus are not unlike these other teachings. I will say I was floored by the Gospel of Thomas the first time I read it. The God within you is motion and rest. Now right there is a piece of wisdom, a real jewel. Motion and rest. A man dies on a cross, executed because the authorities are deathly scared of him. He's a threat to their power. Yeah, the idea is fine, but salvation comes through believing in this morbid story? Hell, I don't think so. That old man has it right. Your thoughts build your tomorrow. If I believe some cockamamie story, it isn't going to do me a damned thing. And yet the cross story is kind of interesting and has some lessons to it. The man with the real power, personal, godly, internal power, booted out of the vineyard by the civil authorities. Now think, like the old man, they built a reality with themselves being the focus. Leaders, they keeping order, they educating our kids, they leading the multitudes to some great future promise, which is what? Death? That won't work. They are leading them to eternal life through the blood shed by the guy whose throat they'd slit in a second, so to keep hold of their power. That's what it is. Okay, now thinking about the old man, where do these ideas about God or anything materialize from? Everyone's slumbering at night, our minds interchanging information. We're building up a theatrical act to live out tomorrow and beyond. And these officials running with a dramatic story about how the powerful put the Son of God to death are feeding us this very thing, saved by some officials who literally dream their way into power and hanging on to that power through some nonsensical promises. No need to really do anything. Just trust in these officials and you'll have eternal life. What does that mean? What is eternal life? Let's not worry about the details. What a laugh. Now get this. As I said, no mere belief is ever going to save anybody. I think the only reason we die is we can't see a continued existence except in abstract form. Eternal life would be a shocker if you really thought about it. You would no longer be who you think you are. I wouldn't be Egbert Benson. I would be an awareness who takes on new and varying identities. This is how Buddhists see it, and Hindus. And who determines all this? Who decides as to who dies and what they become? Who decides whether you move on to higher worlds or fall into pain and despair? It is what the old man said. We create our own reality. Just too simple to understand. Our own behaviors, our efforts, these are what judge us. So now I am really thinking that I have to go and find this old man again. He doesn't just know the truth. He fully comprehends it. That's what so scared me when I heard him for that brief talk that day. And that's exactly what I need. Someone who can pull me into this greater nature of things where I can visualize, feel, touch, hear that reality that is beyond death. Call it heaven, Nirvana, blissful paradise. That place exists, and as I said, it won't come by wishing for it or kissing the behind of some supposed son of God. But this old man, he can bring me there. I sense it, I feel it, and I want it. Nancy had brought me there to the temple where the old man was giving what they called a Dharma speech. Nancy's a colleague where I work. It's her temple. She's Buddhist and lives in Chinatown near downtown. So I talked to her about it, about going there and talking to this man. Sure, no problem. I had another date with the temple this coming Saturday. But Lao, the speaker, the old man I'm wanting to see, he won't be there. We're at the temple. Shoes tucked into shelves outside. There are maybe 40 of us, the girls on the left, the guys on the right. A lot more girls than guys. I've been given my own pillow to sit on. We're doing meditation. This place they call a temple is really an office building. These people can improvise. It is no surprise. The teachings, the Dharma, this is what's impacting. No beliefs, no grand building. Well, that's not always true, but as I say, they improvise. Purpose is still the mind, awaken the mind, in that order. I've learned to meditate for long periods when I need to. It takes training, conditioning, that's all. This man in front, a monk I think, he's wearing a brown robe. He dings a bell and that says when to start. To start doing nothing, actually. Do nothing. Think nothing. Just quiet the mind. I can sit still. I've practiced a lot. It's like my body goes to sleep on the outside, yet I'm wide awake on the inside. I'm becoming more aware of my I amness. I am quieting the mind, and upon doing that, awakening it. It is somewhat like awaking in a dream. But as I said, practice is necessary. But I want to see that old man. God, that's a thought. I've cracked my eyes open. The group is meditating, still meditating. It is all very quiet, peaceful. I feel good. No thoughts, have no thoughts, just feel, experience. I am experiencing my own awareness. Now a light rap on a wood object, and then a ding. The Buddhists know how to bring us back slowly with that light rap. Okay, I guess I'm free now to think again. It is that old man. What's his name? Lao. These people here are good, but they're not Lao. Nancy's talking to the monk. Lao is in Mendocino in the big monastery in the mountains. Oh boy, that sounds really good. Mountains, bingo. There's my ticket. Can I go see him? Nancy's telling me I can. From the Bay Area, it's a 3-hour trip. I can go Saturday, stay overnight, and return on Sunday. Yes, I'll do it. Next week? Fine. Great. Quite pleasant scenery up in the mountains. Quite a nice drive. I drove in last night and stayed in a hotel in Ukiah. Just a short drive to the foot of the mountains. I'm at the gate. Lovely place. Big sequoia trees, all kinds of greenery. The monastery is spread out. Many small buildings. I see Buddha Hall. This is their temple, I think. Nancy won't be here today. I am on my own. In front of me is the administration desk. Where is this Lao, the old man? Lao? A young Chinese woman at the desk is asking. She's wanting to help me. Yes, Lao. I would like to meet him personally. Can I do that? An elderly monk has stepped up, hearing our conversation. He looks about 60 years old and has on a gray robe. You are looking for the master? Yes, I am. You will find him at top of the mountain. Mountain? The monk is pointing upward toward the very top of a hill behind the monastery. Mountain, he says. Take the path. There is a dirt path at foot of the mountain. Take it. It is a long hike. Bring a sleeping bag. Dirt path? Sleeping bag? I was excited. Sure, okay. I thanked him and gave him a bow. The monk walked slowly away. The young woman remained at my side. It is a long trip. Stay here tonight and go up the mountain in the morning. It seemed reasonable. I spent the afternoon at Buddha Hall. I didn't join their chanting. I did enjoy the meditation. It is peaceful here and is quiet. A great experience for those who seek enlightenment. That night I stayed at the monastery and slept in what looked like a patient bed. The monastery used to be some kind of hospital purchased by a Chinese monk some years back and converted into the monastery, a huge complex with hundreds of acres of undeveloped forest. They left everything as it was, pretty much. Fitting, it seems, housing mental patients in the old days and seekers of enlightenment today. A great peace engulfed me that night as I slept through, waking only occasionally and enjoying the serenity. Early in December, it is cold outside and the heating here is not so good, but in a state of meditation I can endure it and feel some gain. The sound of crickets outside of the bushes, way out in the wilderness of Northern California near the coast, my ears, my eyes, nose, each are a creation of my inner eye. The old monk Lao was fading from my mind. Yet, the young woman in administration was taking a central seat, as was the monk I had just met. Don't know his name, but in my imagination I see his kindly face clearly, and I feel he has a sense of what I'm looking for. That breakthrough. Enlightenment, Nirvana, breaking the cycle of material incarnations. I suppose this is foremost on the mind of just about all who come here. A way out, a resolution to this temporal life of certain birth and certain death. My clock read 6:35 a.m. as I reached for the alarm. Time to get up, time to come and see the monk at top of the mountain behind us. Yes, that is it. The monk at the top of the mountain. Lao. I took my sleeping bag from the back of my car. Lucky that I have it. I have it always in my trunk. At the kitchen, I had breakfast with the monks and nuns. They eat vegan food, rice and vegetables, mushrooms and bean curd. Spiced up, but tastes pretty good. And I took some dried food for the hike up the mountain. It would last me a day, but Lao would surely have food at the retreat at the top. The sun shone brightly as I began my journey at foot of the trail. The hike would take about 2 hours. I guessed Lao is a serious practitioner. He must be to so live, so detached from the others. A light breeze made the morning the more pleasant. Early December, it is quite warm, a bit brisk, but not really cold. Not for this area, Northern California near the coast. The mountain's steep, yet the trail is not treacherous. It slowly winds up the mountain at a slight incline and is wide enough that even washed out places are easily passable. All kinds of vegetation and shrubs at bottom are changing into thick redwoods as I gain altitude. Perhaps now 100 feet up, I look down at the monastery. What a massive and grand display it is. I can see 10 or more very substantive buildings. The state of California used to own this place when it was the hospital. The woods are becoming thicker. I am deeper into the redwoods. What peace! No better place than this place to find that elusive answer to life's mystery. But yet so many have tried, and none, I guess, ever have. I am almost at top of the surrounding mountains grand. This hill atop lower, but still a good climb. I see no sign of Lao or any building or camp. What is this? Where is Lao? There's nobody here. Now I'm feeling angry. I can't help it. Are these people playing a prank? No, cannot be. Lao will be here. Surely he'll be here. Ah, I see a small building, a cabin, down a ways on the other side. The brush is thicker now. It doesn't appear to have been much travel. Can Lao be there now? The trail is barely visible, yet I see that it winds over to the little cabin. Lao! A crow cawed. Birds are making all kinds of tweets and screeches. No answer from Lao. Lao! I'm at the cabin door. It is closed, ajar just a hair. There is no lock on it. Grabbing the doorknob, I pushed open the door. It moved a bit and then caught on something. I pushed harder. The hinges creaked and the door fell partly off, but enough intact to get it open. There's a table and a couple of chairs. No Lao. But this must be his abode, yet it is looking quite empty. But somebody's been living here. The table is clean, the floor is just dirt, but clean like it's been swept, almost. Somebody has been living here, I think. A short climb back to the top of the hill. I'll sit here and meditate and wait for Lao. I learned meditation a few years back from the Buddhists. I don't really understand the chanting. It is supposed to help you to quiet the mind. Meditation surely does work. It took a while to build this kind of patience and endurance. It's not so easy just to sit in one place, in one position, and focus on nothing. Not at first, but in time, yes. It's like the body goes to sleep on the outside. You're wide awake inside, and then things start happening even while nothing whatsoever is happening. Either way, I reach a relaxed state where I can sit and focus on not thinking for an hour, 2 hours, sometimes more. The lotus position, the most preferred position for meditating, is difficult for Western practitioners to obtain. One foot up over the other leg, yes, but both feet? Impossible for me. Then I get cramps and I have to move the leg. Buddhists, real Buddhists, born into the practice, do this as children when their bones and muscles are pliable. They obtain the position with ease. But having been born in a society that always uses chairs, our bodies are not so accommodating. It hardly matters, though. The main thing taught is acquire a comfortable position. You can sit in a chair, too, and meditate. The truth is, you can meditate anywhere, even while walking and while performing tasks. But it's harder to do because your conscious mind focuses on the task you are performing, and you forget to be aware of yourself. You forget, and the inner dialogue heats up. You start thinking of things you need to do. This is not living in the present moment, and the present moment, we are taught, is all that exists, and this moment, the present, is all that can be obtained. Strange to Westerners, it was to me. We always think of going someplace, doing something, maybe what to fix for lunch, or to pay a bill we've been procrastinating about. These things are important, but we shouldn't allow them to consume our minds and block out the true reality, the present, this very moment. As it is, my mind is going a mile a minute thinking about how I learned meditation in these recent times. No, that's wrong. I sit thinking about nothing. A thought pops up. I say, a thought. And I let go of the thought and continue sitting silently. Where's Lao? I've sat here 2 hours. No Lao. Why isn't he here? Now I'm worrying. That's wrong. Does it matter that Lao is not here? Does it matter that I've come 150 miles to see him and he's nowhere to be found? Does it matter that I've taken a 3-hour hike up the mountain to see him and he's not here? Truth is, it doesn't. The sun is lower in the sky. I'll watch it. Low clouds in the distance. The sky is unforgettable. The colors, reds and yellows and deep blue above. I'm not supposed to judge what I'm seeing. I'm supposed to observe. See the colors, see the forms, the clouds, the trees, the crisp sky, and the bright, penetrating sun, and not judge, not think, that's a brilliant sky, or wow, what intense colors. No, I'm supposed to just observe, retract those thoughts, lay them to rest, and not produce a new thought about how I've lost my focus on the moment. I just go back to the moment, bring my mind to the moment, observe, and perhaps wonder, and perhaps just enjoy the good experience. This is what some gurus call living in the now. I more simply and properly, I think, call it living now. Another thought. I retract it. No judging. I didn't mess up. My mind just wandered for a moment. But that is judging too. Focus. I feel my head. It's dropped down. My chin is on my chest. Slowly I open my eyes. I see shadows on the ground. Long shadows. The trees. The sun has dropped low in the sky. It'll be behind the trees in a moment and getting dark. I guess I dozed off. It must be going on 5 o'clock. Looking around and about, the sky is deep red. The clouds have opened up. I have a clear view of the sun dropping behind the horizon over the hills, way past the monastery to the west. I'm full of energy, really relaxing energy. Meditation can do this. In the meditative state, you pick up energy like when you waken from a sound sleep. I am so pleased, joyous. This is a remarkable experience. The wind has picked up a little. It too is relaxing, but it is turning colder. I'm dressed for it. That's not a problem. Getting back up on my feet was a bit of a chore. My legs don't want to cooperate. The cool breeze. This is exhilarating. Now what am I doing here? Lao. He never showed up, and it's getting dark. What to do? Too late to take the trail home. It will be dark before I'm halfway down. Lucky I have the sleeping bag. I'll make camp in that little cabin on the floor. I woke just once during the night. A bit creepy. No moon. Total darkness. And eerily quiet. I guess I fell right back to sleep. Light is coming through the window. It is sunrise. The forest is full of the sound of birds awakening. I feel quite good, really pleasant, really peaceful. And what? Lao. Still no Lao. Christ, what am I doing here? All this time, all this work, I wanted to see the master. Lao's not here. Maybe he'll never come. Was that administrator fooling me? Did Lao go somewhere and not tell me? Might he actually be up here somewhere on the mountain and I just haven't found him? Do I have the right mountain? Maybe I took the wrong trail. God, I'm worrying. No reason to worry. Now I am thinking, this serene mountain, if there is a place to find enlightenment, it is here. Here, now. A low fog is penetrating the lowlands. I'm just above it, the sun blazing above me. Down low there's fog, just fog, about as far as I can see. The sun reflecting a yellow-red glow. What wonder! I'm in my best meditative position. The slight cool breeze tempered by the penetrating warm rays of the sun. I like it. Noontime and time to return. Still no Lao. Yet I feel so refreshed. Maybe Lao wasn't so important to this moment. I feel great and energized. Some dried fruit and nuts. I'm heading down the trail. The fog burned off now. I can see for miles. Still early in the day, I reached bottom at about 2 p.m. I was anxious to talk to someone. That administration lady, I guess, for I don't know the name of that Vietnamese monk who sent me up here. The gray robe is their trademark. The Vietnamese wear the gray robe. The woman in the office, I don't recall I ever got her name. Kim, she says. I came to see Lao, I tell her. I don't know, Kim says. Go and talk to Vin. You will find him at the hall. He is at the hall. Buddha Hall, I say. Yes, Buddha Hall. He is there. You need to shower up. You've been away at the mountain. Yes, I'm forgetting how ragged I must look, having stayed at the dirt floor of the cabin on the hill. So I go back to the room, the patient room I had stayed at the first night at the monastery, and shower up, change of clothes. Yes, I'm back in civilization. I feel much better. Buddha Hall is just down the street. The monastery is like a city. The streets have names like Purification Drive, Meditation Avenue, things like that. And I am strolling down Liberation Road, and I see Buddha Hall just in front. I see Vin at the desk in the reception area at front. The door's open, many people milling about. Vin, I yell out softly. His hand in praying position, he politely bows, showing me respect, and is holding out his hand in friendship. Lao was not at top of the mountain. I never found him there, I say. He is here in Buddha Hall today, Vin replies. Did you find yourself? You said he would be at the mountain, I reply. I did not say that, Vin replies and is chuckling. You did. I said you would find the master there, Vin says, a broad smile now crossing his face. The master? There was no one there but me. You did not find the master. I'm flabbergasted. It was a prank. I get what he's saying, but I'm speechless, a bit perturbed. I don't like being fooled. You knew that Lao wasn't there. I did not, Vin said. But you didn't know he was up there. That is true, said Vin. But my words were true. There you will find the master. He let out a laugh and slapped his knee. Darn it, you fooled me, I say. No, I did not. I could see from your voice and your manners that you were not looking for Lao. You were looking for the master. I sent you to where you will find the master. And it's a trick, isn't it? Vin's ruse was one for me to learn that ultimately I myself am the master. I'm not happy about that. You didn't find the master, Vin says. Still not funny. I didn't find myself. I'm not happy about this. Lao is a teacher, Vin says. He can help you now. He could not have helped you yesterday. That is why I sent you on the mission to find the master. I will take you to Lao. Lao is at center in the main temple, a great Buddhist statue at center, Lao in lotus position facing it. No one else was in the hall. Lao turned and looked at me and smiled. You did not find the master, Lao says. I was thinking that there was a conspiracy between Vin and Lao. But I know better than that. Internal communication is natural for serious practitioners. They simply know things without asking, without talking, without conspiring. I know who is the master, I tell Lao. I learned it at the mountain, but I did not find enlightenment. I was not awakened. Yes, says Lao. Now tell me why you felt it's so important to come and see me. I thought for a moment. At this point, I wasn't really sure. I had kind of forgotten. Yes, why, I say. Lao said nothing, looking at me intensely, still smiling. Vin is holding a blank stare, a very serious expression on his face. It is clearly my turn to speak. At the temple in Sunnyvale last year, you spoke of how we create our own realities. I didn't think much of it then, but the idea stuck in my head, and I began to feel that you held the answer in your head to the questions I have been asking myself for many years. I had to come and see you. It just grew with time. I need your presence, you, to enumerate it in solid real terms that I can more fully comprehend. I gave you the message and you comprehended the meaning. Why do you need me any further? Lao asks. What do you mean, I say. It is your thoughts that create your reality. Why do you need me? Part 2. The Long and Winding Road. I'm walking away from the temple and up Liberation Road. Bert! Lao is calling me. I recognize his voice. Turning back, I see him at middle of the plaza in front of the hall. Approaching him, I ask, What? You are driving me to the temple, Lao says. The temple? You mean Sunnyvale? I have finished here. I need a ride back. I'm a bit surprised. Lao is a master. Anyone will take him there. Why is he asking me? And he seems to have read my thoughts. You are going home, and I am going there, to the temple. You shall carry me. He is sporting a queer yet serious appearing grin. I cannot refuse him. I'm quite excited, actually, yet a little frightened. It is my chance to finally rack his brain on these difficult metaphysical ideas I have for so long struggled with. I opened the passenger door and Lao slid in slowly, saying nothing, showing no emotion. I walked slowly to the driver's side, purposely meditating as I walked, placing each foot on the ground with purpose and exactness, and we drove off. A half hour into the trip, no word has been spoken. Now and then I glance over at Lao. His expression is serious. I don't dare say a word. We drive on. It's been an hour now, and another half hour. We are in heavy traffic. We are passing Santa Rosa and will soon be in the Bay Area. Lao hasn't said a word. I am still amazed that Lao has given me the honor of driving him home, back to Sunnyvale, to his temple, to where I live and work. Is he up to something? I'm more and more thinking he just needs a ride back. Maybe they stuck me up on that mountain to delay my return so that I'd be going back at the time he wants. God, that's crazy. Now I'm embarrassed. Is he hearing everything I'm thinking? Probably. God. We're coming up to an exit and Lao is waving for me to take it. What is this? He probably needs a restroom break. He's motioning for me to drive into McDonald's. McDonald's? You've got to be kidding. The master at McDonald's? I don't know. I pulled into the parking lot and stopped the car. Lao is getting out, still looking serious and looking straight ahead, barely noticing my presence. Buy something for yourself. It's the first thing Lao has said since we started. He sat down at a table and I went to the counter and bought a hamburger and fries and sat down opposite him at the small plastic table with its colorful stools. I offered him food. He took 2 fries and is eating slowly, still chomping on the second fry as I finished my hamburger. Good, Lao says, looking down at his last bit of fry he was still eating. They do it all for you. I could see he was joking. They don't really do it all for us. They do it all for themselves. They probably don't really give a rip about us except that we have money to spend. Lao and I walked back to the car. The short exchange amounted to really nothing, but I am beginning to like him now. He has revealed a small part of himself, his dietary discipline and his very subtle humor, and that all gives me a warm and full feeling. I really like him now, yet with little substantive reason for it. On we drove, Lao returning to that serious look and looking straight ahead, like I was not there at all, though I was driving. And he never took the predicted restroom break. Nighttime was approaching as we drove across the Golden Gate Bridge, reaching San Francisco at its most grandiose time, sun setting into the fog rolling in over the vast gray ocean, the lights of the city beginning to blaze on as night approaches. I looked over at Lao. He was watching the city skyline, the look on his face amazed and a slight bit of amusement, like a child waking to his 3rd Christmas Eve, the lights on the tree blazing, presents all under it. He looked over at me. Our eyes met. I felt astonishment. Down the peninsula, we've passed the international airport. Lao is looking up at a plane low in the sky overhead from takeoff and is following it with his eyes. He rolled down his window to better see. We are reaching Sunnyvale. I've taken the freeway exit. I see the temple ahead. Lao is getting out. He's thanking me. As I said, it's just an office building. He couldn't possibly live here. But the lights are on and there are people in the temple. He is home, just as I soon would be too, though my house is devoid of people. I live alone. I went right to bed. I'm really tired from the drive. I see Lao. He's at the very top of the hill, looking away from the sun at the mountains to the east as twilight sets in. I've snuck up alongside him. He hasn't noticed me. Lao. He doesn't hear me. Lao. He's turning to face me, yet he says not a word. Lao, I wanted to see you. He's looking at me and we're no more than 2 feet apart, but he's saying nothing. Lao. He's turning away to face the mountains. I'm a little perturbed. No, I get it. Those who are on the path do not engage in idle chat. He acknowledged me with a stare. There is nothing to say. I've come to see him. I am here. Nothing more to speak of. But I have many things to ask him. Now is not the time, I'm thinking. He sat down in a lotus position. I am sitting down beside him. We must have sat there a long time, yet it feels like minutes. Now he is speaking, opening his mouth as though to speak. The treasures you see here on this hill are words. All of what you see, each is a word. Each will be recorded in your memory. Therefore retrieval for when the right moment arises. He's waving his hand about the hill in a near 360-degree arc. All the world is language, a universal commutative tool. Our greater selves use the tool in dreams, and we interpret the meaning of those dreams by the images, sounds, and sensations we feel as we dream upon wakening. Whole professions have been built upon the interpreting of dreams. It is the basis of psychoanalysis and of other psychology disciplines. I see an arrangement of colorful plastic tables and round stools of other colors, red, green, blue, yellow, very bright colored stools. There is the Golden Arch. I am at McDonald's. There is no one in the room, just me. The floor is checkered like a checkers board. The squares black and white, diagonally a design. I'm turning around to see what is behind me. I'm starting to fall. I've hit the floor. It is not hard. It is soft. I'm struggling to get up. I need to find Lao. He is not here. I am in bed, alone in my home. How much of this was a dream? It isn't clear because it seems so real. I had a dream about Lao, he and I at a table at McDonald's eating a hamburger. Now wait, that wasn't a dream. I drove him back from the monastery. But I did dream about McDonald's and the hill where Lao gave me my wanted secret. I knew the information, but when Lao enumerated it, up on the hill with him at sunset, I comprehended, I understood. Yet now it is confusing. I feel that I am bursting with energy. It's the middle of the night, and I cannot go back to sleep. What will I do with myself? What have I learned? I'm making some instant coffee, heating the water. Where's my cup? Here. Many times I've walked the floor during nighttime. It's an opportunity to just think about these nagging unanswered questions. My purpose for being here, the meaning of it all, where I will be upon falling into death. Lao has offered something new, but it came in the dream state. How is that? He wasn't on the mountain, then in the dream he is. And he gives me this new lesson. God, that's deep. All these images surrounding me, not a world in the way most of us think, but actually a language. I've thought about things like this before, like the world and its forms being dogma, not real, but rather ideas crafted by men for expressing himself, for communicating what it is he knows. But essentially, so what? So what is anything? Where is this human race going? We live, then we drop off a cliff, and people believe all sorts of things about that. Do we go to paradise? What is paradise? Seems to me that paradise is a return right back to that elementary biblical lesson where Genesis starts, the Garden of Eden, where man has no comprehension of anything but that he's in a place where there is no need to think. Just live and be happy. This cannot be the answer. There is no actual purpose in just living and being happy. The mind wants more. Lao knows it and has more. And I feel now that he gave it to me on the mountain in Ukiah, yet he wasn't up there. The language. We're storing memories in the way of forms, sounds, taste, touch, all the elements of the five physical senses. We'll build our own Garden of Eden, our own paradise with the memories we have built throughout our lives. But we won't be enslaved to the physical world as we are today. Like in a dream, the world will conform to our needs. Like in a dream, the world will become language. I'm walking across the floor. What am I really doing? It appears that I'm walking across the floor, but if this were a dream, then would I say I'm walking across the floor? I would say I dreamed that I walked across the floor. And there might very well be some psychological interpretation of why I performed the act, why I walked across the dining room floor of my house in the greater context of the dream. Now this is odd. That little cabin up on the hill, there where I was looking for Lao, I'm seeing it in my mind clearly, just about as real as if I am there. The dirt path leading to the doorway is there. It is clear in my mind. I'm walking across the dirt trail, like I actually am. The door is slightly ajar. I'm pushing it open. Lao is there. He's sitting on a chair by the table. Lao, may I join you? He is motioning me in. He is handing me a hamburger. I am a bit hungry. I thank him, putting my hands in praying position to show him respect, and I take the burger. You don't really create your own world. I was kidding, Lao says. Nor is any of this a language. It is not really anything at all. Yet it is everything there is. Do I make myself clear? No is my only thought and only word. It is because you haven't yet learned to speak, Lao says. But your progress is steady, and your determination is great. You will, given time. I'll learn to speak. You will learn to create your own reality, individually and en masse. That is what you're looking for, isn't it? I woke up. I'm in the kitchen chair. I had fallen asleep somewhere along, not sure where.